Dane, John, do you feel as though you've got a pretty strong case, and why, if that's the case?
Yes, we do. I mean, we understand in the first instance the MRO looking at it, we understand it being looked at, but every instance is different and you have to look at the context, and in this particular context, Bulldogs player was leading at the ball, he was pointing at the ball, a left footer was coming out to kick it to him, and Dane was doing what he needs to do, which is getting in a position to try and get up the ground and spoil. There was a last minute change of direction, and unfortunately accidents happen in football, so it's an unfortunate incident that happened, but these things do happen in the game, and you have to look at it closely and understand the context of the decision that was being made, and these things in a 360-degree sport will happen at times.
If you can't overturn it, how frustrating or bemusing a call might it be?
Oh, let's see how we go. I mean, once again, we understand where the game's going with all of this. We understand that, and we're certainly supportive with that. It's very hard to legislate against everything, and when you look at this in its entirety, in its context of what was actually happening with a player who was leading at the ball, and Dane trying to do the right thing to get in a position to spoil, and then a last minute change of direction. It's just one of those things that can happen, and unfortunately these things can happen in the game.
John, just on that, do you think the league's becoming a bit oversensitive though, just in regards to incidents like a too-much man's pretty hefty?
Well, we're supportive once again of the game and where it's going with this. We're supportive of that. However, you just can't legislate against everything, and particularly football actions. And once again, if you look at this really closely, it's an opposition player was leading the ball. He had his hand out, pointing in the direction where he wanted it. A left footer was going to kick it to him. Dane was doing what he should be doing, which is getting up the ground and trying to get in a position to spoil. There was a last minute change of direction, and unfortunately these things happen. And the most important thing is the player's okay, and once again though, these things can happen in a game of footy.
Did you get Chad back this week?
Hopefully. He did some training today, and the plan is to be able to train him again on Wednesday and hopefully be available to play. So that'd be a good thing. Hopefully he gets through training the second session this week and he's ready to go.
So what's the situation with Angus Sheldrick?
Yeah, unfortunately Angus hurt himself in the first quarter against the Tigers and had an operation on his ankle. So he's out for a number of weeks now. He's a tough kid, He's come out and hurt a pretty severe ankle injury, a syndesmosis type injury in the first quarter against Richmond, and had an operation on Friday, so he'll be out for a number of weeks unfortunately, so he won't be available.
Is that his season out, do you think?
It's probably touch and go. We'll see what happens from here.
How disappointing is that, considering he's had everything like past few games?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. He was coming through as a young midfielder that we were really looking forward to seeing how he developed, and he was doing a good job, and once again, there's not many two players play on with a syndesmosis like he did in that game, and he was able to keep playing, and he was always positive and thinking it was going to be okay. And unfortunately, when we looked at it a bit later in the week, we just thought it wasn't going to heal up naturally, and we felt we had to get the operation. So disappointing for him and us, because he's another young midfielder. We've got plenty of them, of young ones. We need coming through that we'd like to be able to get some more games into.
If Dane does miss as well, kind of leaves you two defenders short with Lewis out as well.
We don't know yet.
If Dane
I don't work in the ifs.
But obviously Aaron Francis did play at VFL. Is that a sign that he'll probably be coming in for Lewis Millican?
Well, yeah, unfortunately Louis Millican's going to be out for probably 3 to 4 weeks with a hamstring. He's had a terrible run with soft tissue injuries, and so he'll miss a bit of footy. He was actually going really well. Aaron's obviously played that role. Tommy McCartan, great to have back in the team, and the more football he plays, the better he'll go, we feel. And Aaron's obviously one that's we hope to be able to play and be able to come in and do a role for us down back, because he's done it. When he's been able to do it this year, he's done a pretty good job for us.
Tom Hickey and Pete Ludders both played VFL on Friday. What did you make of their games, and are they pushing for a return? Yeah, look, we understand, particularly on the weekend, our clearance numbers were right down, and it was a bit of a challenge for us to get ground position, and we need to get better at that. And English had a terrific game. We're looking at it was Peter Ladham's first game back from a significant time out with injury,
and so he's just getting going after his ankle, and he's missed a lot of footy this year, and so we'll have to see how he pulls up and how he's able to get through his rehab this week. Obviously Tom's another option. And what that does though is also, obviously with, ironically we've got a few tools available compared to where we were at the start of the year. We had nobody available. So it's flipped a little bit now, and we've got some tools available. So with Joel and Lance and obviously Hayden and Logan and those guys, what it looks like in a team balance sense, we'll have to make that decision.
What did you make of Hayden's performances as the number one ruckman against?
Yeah, look,
the best?
He's a challenge against. He's probably English should be arguably all Australian ruckman at the moment. So we understood where that was at, but we wanted the whole balance of the team, and it's a bit about ruck contest, but it's also a bit about what we're doing at ground level, and it's a whole combination. And it was a tough night for him, and English is a good player, so it's not going to be the first one that English is going to be able to get on top of.
Will you take Lance Franklin to Perth?
That's the plan. Well, because he played on a Thursday, it gives us an extra few days break, which is important. Like if it was a 6-day break, the situation probably be a bit different. He actually trained today, and looked pretty well. Trained pretty well, so that's a good sign. So hopefully, if he does what he needs to do on Wednesday and pulls up okay from today's session, that he'll be in line to play on the weekend. Once again, can't give any guarantees until we get to the game, but so far he looks okay.
And just on Tom McCartan, how big was it for him to have a big game? He took some of those big contested marks that we hadn't seen for a while there, as he was struggling with a number of issues.
Yeah, look, he's missed a significant amount of footy, which is hard to get back into that swing of things mid-season when you've missed so much footy. Your timing, your positioning. Playing on gun players like he was, and so the longer the game went, the better he went, which is a good sign.
The tackle numbers were really impressive. I think that was the highest tackle count for you guys this season. Is that something that when the clearances and those things aren't quite going your way, you can build your pressure that way? Yeah,
we've got to improve our clearances, there's no question about that, and get better ground position. It's a hard way to play if you've got to do that all the time, but our pressure numbers have been good, and our pressure around the ball has been good, so at least when those a couple of times if they get the clearances, they're coming in to our defenders or our defence under pressure, which is important. So, our number around the ball, what we did in the second quarter in particular, we're able to pressure, what's an A-grade midfield, which they are. They're a quality midfield with a gun ruckman at the moment. So, we're able to go through stages where they're on top and then get back in the game, which is a good sign to be able to come back and shut their advantage down that they had at different times, and particularly from quarter time onwards, we were able to get back in that part of the game, which is important.
What do you make of where Fremantle's at and the challenge this week?
Well, it's a big challenge. It's going over there. It's a big challenge. I'm not sure whether Darcy plays, but if they do have two quality ruckmen, it'll once again challenge us, and we need to make sure we respond to that. So. They've got some very good players on their home deck. I'm sure they'll be fighting for everything. So it's a tough game. We look forward to it. We just got to keep working on our consistency. It was terrific on the weekend. We were able to come back and get our nose in front when it mattered most. So that's a good sign to keep improving that part of our game as well.
John, there was a really nice moment at the end of the game, all the boys getting around you as you celebrated game 300. Did you enjoy your weekend?
Yeah, it was a little bit of carry on, wasn't it? Just, look, you don't get much time to reflect much. I think I had about 20 minutes after the game, which was lovely. That was a nice little piece. I think Errol and Paps said they were going to carry me off, and I'm not sure that would have worked. That might have ended up looking ugly. so no, it was, we don't want to be doing that every week, but it was a nice little period. You get a little 20-minute period with the boys after the game, and they're a really good group, and we've got high hopes for. So it was a good little period.
Game 301, just as important though.
No question about that. That's in the past. Got to get going this week again. Very good. Well done.